Good evening and welcome to the Commissioners meeting. At this time, we'll have a moment of silent prayer and then we will do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments. We have Mr. John Clay.
My name is John Claggett. I reside at 108 J Lane, Providence, North Carolina. Good evening. Item number 9 on your agenda this evening is proposed emergency services building. With the current EMS building having been renovated a few years ago and the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new high school in the not too distant future, along with still being underwater debt-wise with the detention center, I believe the Caswell County taxpayer would also be interested in your thoughts regarding upcoming renovations concerning the Gulford Mills building located at 339 Wall Street, Yanceyville, North Carolina. As you know, this building houses Caswell County Family Services, Caswell County Maintenance, and other offices, has small trees growing on its roof and in an exposed hole on its upper level. Just how physically and environmentally safe is that? Thank you.
Mr. Thomas White.
I'm Thomas White, firefighter, George Road, Jensen. Now, I'm here to report to you about one of the road, Mr. Thomas Bernard down in Texas. Now, I've been, for the last 15 to 20 years, I've been trying to get certain taxes. I've been here several times to this board trying to get certain. Now, I think by you and by this board employee, you should look into it and get it straightened out. And if you don't know, which I don't think you do, I don't think you know how to straighten it out. You need to get somebody to straighten it out. And you spend money for everything else. You can't have a man in the tax office running wild around. And you don't know what he's doing, and you're not looking into it. And why you don't, I don't know, probably when you and I have friends too, but I don't know when the guy is still. And I want you to do something about it, but I'm gonna do what I can do. And it won't hold, this won't hold, because I know I'm right. I know I'm right, and you ain't doing nothing, you're not trying to do nothing, you're not looking at the evidence. The man got it down, money's gone, you done took my money. And you ain't learning about it. But I am, and I'm gonna do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in public comment? If not, we'll close the public comments and go to opening statement, Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the last meeting, I made a comment which probably was a negative comment concerning the planning board. And it had to do, the comment was to the extent that we, the commissioners, appointed that board, and we, the commissioners, could unappoint that board. I think that based on what I've learned since then, that comment was inappropriate. And I want to apologize to the planning board for saying that. And I'll just leave it at that. I think it was inappropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Recognitions. Do any of the commissioners have any recognitions? If not, we'll move on to the agenda. So moved, Mr. Chairman. We are going to amend that agenda. Hang on just a second. We're going to take off the tax structure and propose emergency services building, and it will be the extension service will be put on. Now, Mr. Russell. All right,
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. We'll do roll call voting. Mr. Dickerson? Mr. Howell? Aye. Mr. Jeffries? Mr. Ostrager?
Aye.
Mr. Massengill? Aye. And McVeigh? Aye. Motion carries. Approval of the consent agenda, A through B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the consent agenda. We will do roll call voting again. Mr. Dickerson? Aye. Howell? Aye. Mr. Jeffries? Mr. Ostrager? Aye. Mr. Massengill? Aye. Mr. Bay? Aye. Motion carries. So, first of all, we have, on our discussion items, we need to, from the Extension Service, Ms. Susan Kelly.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Miller, staff. It's a real pleasure to be here in Caswell County tonight. I'm Susan Kelly. I bring you greetings from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. I'm the Assistant Director for Extension, and I work with county operations. Last time I was here seeing you, I was the District Director over this district, so I have a different position now. I'm very proud of the Caswell County Extension Office and also our partnership. I'm here to recognize you all for being one of our 5 counties that we selected this year as an outstanding partner with Cooperative Extension. You may have already heard about this, but I want to make sure that we came here in person so everybody in Caswell County knows what a great partnership this is. It was a difficult decision, and you will see that all the other counties that won the award are much larger in population, and a partnership might be easier in a place like that. So I really do appreciate the partnership here in Caswell County, especially the seed project that you've engaged Extension in, and all the things that they are able to work very closely with county government and county commissioners. So congratulations on becoming a 2022 Extension County Partnership Award winner. And we are very proud of this partnership. And you do have a little plaque.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I think Travis has some announcements. Let's go.
Yes, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our 2 new agents we've hired. We had some change in our office this spring. Bailey Perkins is our new livestock agent. We hired her in May, and she's been on board this summer, helping us and getting to know the county and doing a good job. And then Matt Solomon, he's our new crops agent. We hired him. He started today, so this is his first day on staff with us, and we've got him going. And they're both kind of local. Bailey's just barely over the Rockingham County line on the south end of the county, and Matt's a Prospect Hill resident. So we're proud that we had some really good applicants locally that we could look at, and we think we've got our two positions filled with some really qualified candidates to help the residents of the community in those different areas. So we want to welcome them on board. And then Randy's here tonight with their leadership club. They're marking a citizen engagement task off of their list that they're doing. So they're kind of watching the commissioners meeting for a little bit while we're here presenting the board as well. And we just want to thank you for all the support you've given us in the extension office and helping us build a better community here in Caswell County.
Thank you.
Commissioners, I have just one thing that I want to add. This award was presented initially at the NCACC annual conference, and Commissioner Hall accepted the award on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. So to put this in perspective, this award was accepted, and every other county that was represented at the NCACC saw Caswell County receive this award. This is kind of a big deal.
Thank you. Moving on, we will take up the action items tonight. We need to appoint on some boards and make appointments to boards and committees, the ones that we have had received applications for. The first one is ABC Board. We received 2 applications on that, John A. Crispin and Patricia Thomas. Sir? As far as I know, just one opening, correct?
So are we going to elect them or appoint them one at a time?
Yep, I'm gonna go down and point them one at a time because some of these did not receive any applications. So we'll go over them, but we'll move on. So we'll do it one at a time. So I need a nomination for the ABC Board.
I nominate Patricia Thompson.
Patricia Thompson,
I'd like to nominate Joe Crispin.
all right, we'll do roll call vote. Mr. Dixon,
Mr. Crispin.
Mr. Howell,
Thompson.
Mr. Jeffries,
Thompson.
Mr. Ostrander,
Mr. Crispin.
Mr. Massengill.
Is there term limits?
Sir?
Are there term limits on this?
Yes. There will be.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
But he has not term limited out?
Evidently, it runs out the end of this month.
There is a term for the appointment, but there's no maximum number of terms that you can serve.
Runs out 9/30.
Crispin?
Crispin. And I will vote for Mr. Crispin. So he has it, gentlemen. Agricultural Advisory Committee has been re-advertised. The Heritage and Cultural Preservation Committee, we've had 1 application for.
It says re-advertised. Have we re-advertised, or are we just gonna nominate?
Okay, we got re-advertised on yours.
Say again?
Well, I've got received an application from the lady who was a current member.
Yeah, I do too, but it says re-advertised.
They were re-advertised from the previous month. We had these same boards on there previously when we did it, so we re-advertised and we received 1 application, that's all.
And that's all.
That's all.
Then she would be vote,
Yeah.
my opinion.
All right, we'll do roll call voting. Mr. Massengill,
Yes, sir. Sue?
Mr. Ostrander,
Yep.
Sue, Mr. Jeffries? Yes. Mr. Howell?
No.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
McVeigh, yes. She's your member. Juvenile crime division, I have on my paper one application, Jennifer O'Brien. Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yes, sir.
That's not the one that's on mine.
Juvenile crime division on the current members, application received.
Dustin was on the board and his term is expiring 6/30/2022. So we re-advertised, and Jennifer O'Brien is the applicant. We received the application.
Okay, I see now.
Got it?
So did you get an application from the Dustin?
Yes, sir.
No. So, Mr. Dixon, you voting on her?
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
Mr. Howell,
No.
Mr. Jeffries,
No.
Mr. Ostrowski,
Jennifer?
Mr. Massagill,
Yes.
and McVeigh, yes. Recreation Committee, we got 3 openings, and we've received 1 application, Mr. Stephen Harrison.
Has this been re-advertised?
This is the first time for this because their term just expires at the end of this month. We can re-advertise for the other slots.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend we just wait and re-advertise on that because that's a relatively important committee considering what's going on. And I'd like to table that and re-advertise and see what we get.
Is that fine with the rest of the board?
No, you got Steve Harrison already filled out that.
Yes, you've got 1 that applied for it.
We got 1 that's applied and there's 3 seats open.
3 seats open.
Understand that, but why you leave 2 seats up, why you leave 3 to make it already fine?
I have no problem with that, but we need to advertise to fill the,
Okay, we have no problem with Mr. Harrison.
yeah, I've got no problem with Mr. Harrelson.
Okay, all right, now I understand what you're
I'll
doing.
amend my motion that we accept Mr. Harrelson and that we re-advertise for the other 2 positions.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Dickerson? Mr. Howell? Yes. Mr. Jeffries? Mr. Ostrowski? Ms. Bay, motion carries. Senior Center Advisory. We did not receive any applications at all, and we have 3 openings, which is being re-advertised. Then we move on to Social Services Board. We have 1 opening and no application received. So that needs to be re-advertised.
Which state order?
Okay. All right, that takes care of boards and appointments.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I voted no a couple of times, and I want to explain why. I changed that no on the Recreation Commission. This county is roughly 34% African American. The Recreation Committee is the only person that I see and recognize as an African American. Now, I think we have to do a better job. If we have to re-advertise these things again, then so be it. But to ignore 34% of the population, who we're doing a big injustice. I'm not gonna ignore, I'm not gonna ignore us. You guys can if you like, but I'm gonna bring it to your attention. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. All right, moving on, we will go to county manager updates.
Commissioners, I do have just a couple of quick updates for you. I wanted, first, in your agenda packet, you had a budget amendment, just for transparency, I wanted to talk a little bit about the budget amendment and let you know what the budget amendment is for. I know you've read your agenda packets and you understand, but the public may not. So the library received a grant for $25,002 to do a story wall in, so it encourages physical activity, it encourages people to get outside and become active. And the way it works is as they walk along the trail, they read different pages from a book. I think one is planned for Milton, and I think another one is planned for Yancey. So that is grant money we have coming in that will be expended for the purpose of the story wall. And that's from the state library. Are there any questions? So there's also a donation from the Castle Friends of the Library for $2,800 to be included in that. Friends of the Library do a tremendous job in supporting our library and our patrons and our staff. So I will say that is a very important committee and they do great work. The second thing I want to update the board on.
Mr. Miller, may I ask a question there? Is there a time frame as to when that $25,002 needs to be spent?
I'm not sure if there is a time frame, but I would assume that it needs to be done in this fiscal year. I know that they have been working on the construction and putting pieces of this project together for quite some time. They've already had conversations with Milton, and you're all aware that Milton's planning to do some trails in and around downtown Milton. That trail is one of the trails that the story walk will be on. We've had trails like this in downtown Yancey before at Mulligate Wood Park. So this will just be, and there's even been trails before, not necessarily trails before, but we've had story walks before around Parks and Rec, around the walking track. So this is not a new concept, but they are expanding that because it's been so successful. So I think it needs to be done this fiscal year. Any additional questions about the budget amendment? So, commissioners, as you know, I attended the NCACC board trustees annual meeting last week, and at that meeting, there's also a former county manager, now commissioner, from Stokes County that serves on the board of trustees as well. He mentioned to me that he was very interested in realigning Castle County and forming, if you remember, you used to have the joint meetings with Rockingham and Stokes. He is really interested in getting that back together. I told him I would reach out to this board and let the board know that there was interest in doing joint meetings again. Now that it seems we've got over the COVID hump. So I'm bringing it to your attention. You can move on it, take it, run with it, whatever you'd like to do. But there is interest in having those joint meetings.
Now, you said he was from Stokes. Have you talked to anybody from Rockingham that?
You know, we talk, the county manager from Rockingham and I, we talk about that occasionally. And I think there's interest from Rockingham too.
Then there should be interest from us.
Yeah. There's a lot of synergies that we can form if we work together with Rockingham and Stokes. They face some of the same problems we do. They go through some of the same pitfalls that we seem to go through, have some of the same type of issues. So I think us coming together and learning from each other is probably a positive step.
Did they give you a time frame?
No, they didn't. I think he was going to speak with the rest of his board about that and try to make something work.
We used to do that.
Could you come back to us with, at the next meeting with a kind of a time frame schedule?
I can.
Thank you.
And interest
Yep.
from Rockingham, Stokes,
Yes,
maybe.
I'll do that.
I think we met with Alan as well.
Well, just, would this board like to host that meeting?
We can do
Okay. All right, I'll set it up and see what we can do. So those are the only updates I have for you now. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, or provide you with any updates you'd like to hear about.
Can we reach out to other counties like Alamance in person, try to build a bridge there as well?
If the board wants to, I'm happy to reach out to those counties as well.
I'd like to try to network as much as we can.
Well, I had just mentioned Alan as well, maybe you didn't hear me.
Yeah.
Any more updates? Anything else?
That's all I have.
We'll move on to commissioner comments. I have one to make about the planning board. We, at the last meeting, talked about going to the planning board meeting, and because they had not wanted to meet with us, is what we were told. Well, I've done a little investigating on it, talked to a board member, talked to the chairman, and found out that the vice chairman had recommended this because of the litigation process that they're in at this time. It's taking up so much of their time. So my recommendation is, and I think Mr. Hall, you talked to a board member, I know Mr. Jeffries talked to a board member, you may have Mr. Dixon, we all pretty much got the same answer. I think you did, Mr. Massengill. So I'm going to recommend that we just leave it alone. There's no need in us going to the board meeting and knowing what has taken place so far. If that's agreeable with everybody, I'll get a consensus on that. Mr. Dickerson?
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Thank you. Mr. Hall? Yes. Mr. Jeffrey? Mr. Ostrowski?
I disagree wholeheartedly.
Mr. Massengill?
Yes, sir.
You agree?
Yes, sir.
And I agree. So we'll just discontinue that at this time till they get through the litigation that they're going through. Announcements and upcoming events. September the 20th, 9 a.m., which is tomorrow, ribbon cutting for the seed project across from the Pelham Industrial Park. September the 24th, starting at 9 a.m. is the Bright Leaf Hoedown. September the 27th at 1 p.m. is the planning board meeting at Gum Memorial Library. October the 2nd, 2 to 4 p.m. is the ribbon cutting and open house at Barley Yancey High School. Commissioners meeting, of course, October the 3rd. October the 10th at 12 noon, the Board of Education luncheon meeting. This will be where we have an opportunity, as I had asked at the last board meeting, to address the school.
Where's that?
It's October the 10th at 12.
Where?
Where?
At the school board.
At the school board.
Yes, sir.
And Commissioners, I just want to point out that initially, I had made the recommendation that we have that meeting on October the 3rd, and the Board of Education was unable to meet that day, and they suggested the 10th. So that's why we have the meeting on the 10th instead of the 3rd.
The 10th is fine. We can say whatever we need to say on the 10th, just like we could the 3rd. All right, moving on, Commissioners meeting, of course, October 17th will be at 6:30. I need a motion to go into closed session.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to go into closed session to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, condition of employment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or employee, or prospective public officer or employee, according to North Carolina State Statute 143-318.11 A6.
Second. We have a motion and a second on the floor. I'll do roll call vote. Mr. Dixon? Aye. Mr. Hall? Aye. Mr. Jeffers? Aye. Mr. Ostrowsker? Aye. Mr. Messenger?
Aye.
Ms. Bay? Aye. Motion carried. We will now sit in closed session. We now sit back in open session. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Now we are adjourned.